Oh, bam. Got it. Okay, so we got three things. We'll see if we actually get to them, basically. But what do we say first? Fit quest update or push pull motivation?
We're going to talk about push-pull motivation first, and then we'll do the FitQuest update. I
Okay,
don't think we're going to have time to get to the next one, but
we'll see. We'll see. Maybe I'll just toss it in randomly.
okay. All
I'll
right.
keep it as suspense. All right, so like push pull motivation, we were talking about, and we forgot about it last time a little bit, but we were talking about it when we were out disc golfing.
Yeah. And how did you hear about push-pull motivation?
From the great Tony Robbins, which apparently a lot of people don't know who Tony Robbins is, and the people who do know who Tony Robbins is are kind of I don't know, it's like they're the way people are when you send them the same ad over and over. I think they've been oversaturated by Tony Robbins at some point in their life.
Like,
Maybe.
because he was like the one of the first big self-help guys, like before self-help got popular. I
Mhm.
mean, because now if you're not doing self-help, like people are like, "What? You're not doing anything for yourself?" But 30 years ago, if you went to a Tony Robbins seminar, people would be like, "Are you okay? Like, is there something wrong with
Yeah,
you?"
yeah,
And I think that's why there's a weird stigma with him. But he has great stuff for sure.
yeah, and he has like time tested stuff at this point. So I'd heard of Tony Robbins before, and I like some of his stuff, but like every time I looked into it pre-internet or right around early internet times, it's kind of cheesy and wasn't really hitting, and I probably wasn't in the phase of my life where it would be useful. He tends to work with like middle-aged and older, like people in the middle of transition type scenarios, trying to shift their mindset type of thing, which isn't really a thing that happens till people are older.
Well, I
Okay.
think because you get stuck, like, and I think it has a lot to do with this push pull that we're going to talk about, is
Mm-hmm.
because at the beginning of your life, it's like a lot of stuff is programmed. Like
Mm-hmm.
like for at least the past 100 years, we all go to school, and then we all go get a job, and then we try and get married, and then I think once you get to that point, and then you have kids, then there's this real like this problem with a lot of people where they're not motivated to do a whole lot, and they don't know why. And I think that's where people like self-help comes in, and people like Tony Robbins, because they can give you these constructs like the push-pull that we're going to talk about, and then that kind of helps you, put things in boxes and kind of gets you through life the same way a lot of like religions and stuff did of the past.
Right. Yeah, and that's why it feels time tested. It's nothing new he's saying, but the order in which he's saying it and the way he says it can be really useful. I would say. Does that make sense?
So So what is this push pull? Like if we're just gonna summarize it real quick and then we'll get into it.
Okay, so when Tony Robbins talks about it, I think the main thing he's trying to say is that a lot of people are motivated by push, and that's something like, I need to do this because this is going to happen soon, kind of thing, or to avoid something bad, or to like, or even to go towards something good, but it's like you're trying to push yourself a lot of times when they're, and you need both, but you really need a pull motivation, which is something that's more on the horizon, that is pulling you forward through the path that
Right.
you're trying to walk, so to
Right.
speak, versus something that's pushing you, because the push is more like an external pressure for like fear or necessity, I believe.
Yeah.
I finally got my notes pulled up. And then the pull is more like an inspiring vision.
Okay. Okay. I like that. Like I think about this as like if you're say that you're a human and you're in the water and you're riding a wave, right? And you ride that wave all the way to land. Like you surfed it all the way to land, right? And you're like, that was awesome because you just rode that wave. But really you want to get back, and then you're on the beach and you're like, okay, I'm here. Now what? But really, you want to go out back into the water, push through all those waves, or get through all, we're going to say pull through all those waves because that's the,
Well, you feel pulled by like if you're just relying on push to get back through those waves and those waves are too strong, you're gonna stop pushing at some point. You're gonna run out. You
well,
know,
you've been trying to get on the beach your whole life. You wanna, lay on the beach and soak up some rays, but really, I mean, you need to get back out there in the water and you got to push through the waves to get back out there to be able to ride the next wave each time. And I think I know I'm saying push to go back out, but that call like to get
it's a
back into the
calling.
water.
Like it's like if that was the analogy, I would say it'd be like somebody who realizes that they love riding the waves.
Yeah,
You know?
you need to get back out there and you need to have a reason to get back out there because you're on the beach chilling and you're happy,
Mm-hmm.
but you're not doing anything. And so you need to get back out there and something needs to pull you to be able to because life gets hard when you're older, you have a million things. So you need to be pulled out there to be able to get on another wave or to be able to do the next thing. And I think where we're trying to go here is that what is going to pull you, and that is a big thing I think you need to kind of figure out when it comes to this.
Yeah. Like, what do you think of like top pulls for you when it comes to your health or your goals? What's pulling you to achieve those goals?
Yeah, sure. Well, right now so I'm almost 40. Um, and really for me, what pulls me is that one thing is kids, one thing is I don't want to be fat again.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a big thing for me, you know. Uh, I know that so let's just go let's put push and pull into fitness now. All right,
Yeah. There
let's
you
get it
go.
out of the way out of the waves in life,
There you
right?
go. There you go.
Right. So I was always told that fitness is good, right? So that was like the push into fitness,
Yes,
right?
that's the external pressure by like society or necessity, basically.
Yeah, or just, being a bigger kid when I was younger and I want to be a part of society and like when you're young, you're pushed into these like ideals that you don't quite understand. And so you're pushed to feel a certain way, look a certain way, and I think I was pushed into fitness um from that and from being overweight and all that kind of, so it's like a societal squeeze. Um but now and then I had my fitness journey and of course I'm still in it. I mean that's what the fit quest is always, but now I'm not really pushed by society anymore. I'm pulled by why I like it and why I don't want to be how I was before and why, just showing my kids every day, uh being an example for them is a huge pull for me.
I think it
And
has to do with like a feeling of fulfillment, right? Like you have to feel like your cup is getting filled by the pull. Like the things that you know fill your cup is just another way of saying like fulfill you basically, but like hit the buttons that you need pushed, to feel like you're going in the right direction.
I think so. This is interesting. So I'll just tell you what I like how I feel. I mean, like, because if I go, if I spent the next 10 years and didn't work out, like I know that I would be overweight, I would feel horrible. I'm setting myself up for like the rest of my life to be very hard. And so I know that when I'm younger, like almost being 40 now, and that if I really focus and stay at least semi-healthy, 80% healthy, that I have a better chance to survive and live not just longer, but better. And I'm not too worried about living super long, like longevity wise or anything like that. But I want to be able to hike and I want to be able to hike 10 miles. Like one thing that just keeps me going is I want to be able to like say hike 10 miles when I'm 75 years old. Like, if I'm lucky enough to make it that long, right? Um,
Yeah.
but that's the everyday is like it is pulling me to just to be healthy. And I don't know what that is, and I don't know how to explain it more than that. Maybe you can decipher that a little bit.
Hmm.
What's your pull? Like, can you explain it, maybe?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the push was similar with me, for example. And I think like the push almost affects what the pull is going to be later, possibly. You know,
Oh, okay.
so it affects your perspective on the pull,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. But my pull is really just trying to get the most out of this experience before it's over.
Right.
I would
Right.
say, if I was to like simplify it the most. And then like those things are based on like what is the most for me. It's like having really strong relationships, really good quality, like density. Like it's all about like quality and density, quality and density, quality and density. Like
Right.
with the main categories, with health, because health is like, no, if not number one, number two, almost all the time. Top, top, top two all the time, basically.
Right.
And
Yeah,
because
I'm not
that.
gonna say I'm not gonna say health is. I always used to tell this to my clients that health should be your number one
Mhm,
because without good health, it's harder to have good relationships. It's
mhm,
harder to have a good life without good health. I mean, you have to deal with a whole bunch more stuff. You wake up every day achy and all sorts of things, and that might be normal anyway, by the way. But
mhm,
if you don't have fitness and you don't have like a daily practice, a lot of times you get stuck. And I think it's just the pull every day to get out of bed and be able to go work out and to be able to go run and sweat and do hard things in a world that is easy, it's gotten so much easier yet so much harder in so many ways for us, but for our physical selves, it's gotten a lot easier in my opinion. And so you have to push yourself, and that's what's pulling me is just like the fact that I know if I sit here and I don't be healthy every day and I don't exercise, that I'm gonna get overweight. I mean, if I don't do yoga for 2 days, my back starts hurting, man. Like I
I don't
couldn't.
if I don't do calf raises while after I'm standing for a while like I am right now, my
Right.
ankles and knees will hurt.
Yeah, exactly. You need to your body needs to experience things. I mean, hundreds of years ago, all we did was walk around and we were always moving, and now we have these comfy couches and big TVs and it's easy to sit around. And I think those are the things that just try to pull me to the end of the life because what pushed me when I was young, was society. And it wasn't really me loving those things, but now I love those things. And I think that's the biggest difference, I think.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's a perfect place for that.
All right, cool. Let's do it.
All right, so like FitQuest updates in relation to that, you can kind of think as well. Like what's been happening FitQuest wise. One of the things I really like that you showed me just a picture of recently was your picture of how you have the different categories of exercise that you're
Yes.
doing, and you're keeping a tally on how many times you're doing them. I guess just running tally, just how much you can get in a month, a year, who knows.
Correct. So you can see I'm pointing to this white thing on the board here to my left.
Yes,
But
yes.
basically it's a whole entire year, but on the bottom there is 31 days and it just has goals and then it has about 10 lines. And so on those lines, my wife and I each have our own like daily health and exercise things, and they're quite different for both of us.
Hmm.
And basically I just check it off if I do it, and then at the end of the month I'm going to see how many I did that month, and I'm just going to keep track of that in an Excel sheet for the whole year. And I'm not really trying to beat my last month or anything like that. I'm
Gathering data.
I'm just trying to gather data and find some trends and see what I like and see what I don't like.
Yeah.
I have an interesting thing. I've been last year, I didn't meditate as much as I did for like the 5 years before that. Um, and this weird thing, I've been meditating now for since the beginning of the year, every few days, not as much as I liked, but it's weird, man. It's unlocking like different feelings. Like usually it helps me calm down, but I've felt more like enraged almost, like from meditating, which is a weird thing, and I don't know if that's a good thing. But anyway, that's a little
Have you
side
looked
note.
that up at all? Have you looked that up at all as a
I
common?
haven't
Yeah.
because I've been doing this awareness train. I've just been meditating myself, right? And it's for Zen golf. So I do a 3 minute body scan and then a 4 minute inward awareness. And then I usually end with 2 or 3 minutes of outward awareness.
Okay, so
And
paying attention to what's happening inside you versus, and then paying attention to what's happening outside of you.
so the inward awareness, it's twofold, I guess. It's focusing on the breath is the main thing, and then the other thing is focusing on thoughts.
Mhm.
And the biggest thing is that as soon as you realize, like as soon as you get off of your breath and a thought starts carrying you, basically your only job is to realize that you're thinking about something else and then come back to your breath.
Right.
Well, yeah, you've meditated, awareness training. And
Yeah,
then,
I know. Well, sometimes also, have you heard of the one where you'll think of the thought and you'll think of it as like a positive, negative, or neutral, and then let it go?
oh no, I haven't.
Yeah,
Because
that's a fun.
because no, are thoughts positive, negative, or neutral?
Well, it depends on what it's making, how it makes you feel in that moment. So how is that thought affecting you in that moment?
Well, I would say,
Negative, 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 negative. So it's making you angry.
I would say that for a long time, if you don't become a master, which most people don't become a master, is that I would say that's an okay way to think, but I think the point of meditation is to get to a point where
The no
good,
mind.
there is no good, bad, or neutral. It
Yes.
just everything just is.
Yes.
And things just happen. I mean, because how often in life is the worst things that happen to you on that week or that month are often the biggest you know what happens after that bad things happens to you is usually some sort of redemption, and often is like your biggest learning is from your biggest mistakes. And so when you get in that mindset that there is no good, there is no bad, there's just things that happen, and then there's feelings that come up, and your job as somebody is to realize those feelings are there, allow them to happen, and just live with those feelings. They're not good though, they're not bad, they're just a feeling from what
Neutral.
happened. And then if you do the idea is if you do that for years and years and years, then
Yes.
everything is good, right?
Yes.
Or
Yes.
is it good?
You perceive it to be, at least.
It just is, man. I use good and bad way too often, but I try and teach to my kids that there is no good or bad.
Hmm. Yeah. Deep, deep, Josh.
But that's we get into this stuff a little bit more on our green room chats.
Yes.
The audience hasn't heard too much about it, but this definitely goes into some deep stuff, but that is not for this podcast.
Right. Do you feel um do you feel like fitness is magical in a way?
Fitness can be magical, but it's only magical if you allow it, because when you let too much logic and science come into it, then I think you know what's happening, and then it's less magical. Um, like a wizard. Like I mean, like if you have never worked out and you get a trainer for the first time and you train with them for like a year and you lose like 100 pounds, or you're able to get up off the couch without hurting or something like that, then I think, and especially if you've had 40, 50 years of back pain, and then all of a sudden you do your first, exercise routine for a year and your back pain is like 10% of what it used to be. Well, that could be a really magical thing for people, and it can really keep them motivated.
That Josh is saying this while I got changed into my prototype wizard hat. If you're watching the video, if you're not watching the video, that's why we're laughing on the inside right now.
I mean, we've had 3 podcasts for listeners who've been listening, and our first podcast was the Magical Fitness podcast, and
Yes.
that's because fitness is magical. Now, you're the one that kind of wanted to chat about this. What did you have in mind when you thought about why is fitness magical?
Well, like even the things we were talking about today, like in terms of like push pull motivation, in terms of our foot fit quest and how that affects our fit quest, right? I
Hmm.
feel like if you don't have health goals, you're not going to you're not going to get as much juice from the fruit of life, basically, like you're not going to be able
Right,
to squeeze as much juice from it.
right, right.
And there's a lot in that juice that you even ourselves who have been doing this for a while are still surprised by, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like that's one of the reasons why we keep going with it.
We've talked about meta skills before, right? And how fitness is like the ultimate like meta skill type thing. And I think that's like when somebody goes in for fat loss and they say, I want a year, like a year of training, and I want to lose 100 pounds, right? I think the magic part is, well, there's about 100 other things that are going to happen in that year besides you losing that 100 pounds, right? Like
Mhm.
you're like things like confidence and knowing your body, knowing yourself, knowing how far you can go, knowing your weaknesses, like knowing a lot of things if you've never pushed yourself before. Um, like you don't think about them, but they seep into the other parts of your life. And I think we've talked about it. So I think it's less magical for us, but for somebody who's first coming into fitness, I think that's where the magic is. Magic is in all the things that happen that you don't really think was going to happen. And all of a sudden, those are really the things that are improving in your life. Like maybe relationships, or, maybe your work is better, or maybe you're just generally happier. And that's all related to, say, your fat loss goal or whatever. I'm not saying everyone has the same experiences either, but I think that's what the magical part is, that everyone's experience is a little bit different, and what they get out of fitness is a little bit different.
Yeah, there's a big potential, I feel like, that you create to kind of unlock skills in a way. I think of the video games with the skills a lot
Yeah.
of times. I know both me and you think about that a lot of times with our strength training. Like I was doing a skill I recently unlocked, going back to the Fit Quest a little bit. I don't have it
Yeah.
out there. But the Swiss ball I have.
Yeah.
Okay, so the meager Swiss ball. Okay, you don't think that thing's gonna kick your ass, right? That much. You
Right.
don't think that's gonna be that hard of an exercise tool. I've been doing a whole bunch of like rollout type work and hamstring type work, and bridge type
Yeah.
work, and elongations, like long core elongations and mobility using the Swiss ball.
Yeah.
Ridiculous, dude.
Oh,
Ridiculous. And like my stabilizers and my joints and my wrists are feeling better and my core is feeling super freaking strong.
oh
And
yeah.
yeah, with the blown up plastic ball, you know?
When I was at the gym, I use those every day with my clients. I mean,
Yeah.
like a hamstring, what is it called? A hamstring curl
Yeah.
on a ball like that is
Yeah.
so hard. And then, or
Yeah.
like stir the pot,
Mm-hmm.
planks.
Mm-hmm.
Those are all super tough. Um, I like to do. crunches and kind of say what you were talking about with the elongated kind
Right,
of
like the extension across the back and then coming up into that crunch position or sit up position. Yeah.
yeah, which you need to be ready. By the way, don't go out and do that right now. Make sure
Yes.
you're ready for that. Talk to somebody before you go do that if you've never done that before.
Yes, yes, yes. Don't play with magic without an instruction booklet, maybe.
You should write a magic spell book with your wizard hat and the magic fitness spell book.
I got lots of ideas. I like that a lot. I feel like when I that's another reason why I'm doing the magical theme as of late, because I'm like, I feel like there's so many just easy, just fun things to do. It'll keep me inspired a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. What else is going on in your fitness land for your Fit Quest?
So I've been using the whiteboard again to track things after you sent me that message, for
Yeah,
example.
yeah,
I was like, oh yeah, I gotta do that because I like that because I'm trying to keep track of them, and I just haven't been. I haven't had the journal where I work out. You know,
yeah,
but the whiteboard is where I work out usually, especially in the wintertime. I'm working out in the office. It's
yeah,
the office gym. So that's been useful, and I've been doing that. And I like how I'll put up like a little workout log up there
yeah,
about what I've done. But mostly, I've been doing a good amount of Swiss ball work. I've been doing a good amount of the extremities, like I was telling you about. I'm still working
yeah,
on calves, wrists, um, neck, spine,
yeah,
that kind of
yeah.
work right now. 2 to 3 days a week. I
Ooh,
need
let's go back. I want to go back to the board.
okay.
Uh, okay, so okay, one thing that you said that I really like is that, okay, you can keep stuff in a journal, and journals are
Mhm,
great. We've talked about journaling. Journaling can be great, but putting stuff on your board or something that is super visible and
mhm,
bigger and
mhm,
around where you are all the time
mhm.
gives you a different type of motivation. So I set this goal and calendar thing up in our sitting room, like our TV room, right?
Right.
And so every time, it gets to nighttime, we got the kids in bed, we come in here, we sit down, we watch TV. But I guarantee you, I'm looking at this board and being like, all right, what did I do today? And then I look up on the calendar, say, what's going on? And it really keeps you focused compared to that journal. It could sit in your gym bag. Like you can get in a really good habit with the journal, but I love these big things that you can see all the time. And I really think
Yeah.
there's a motivation with that.
Oh, for sure, dude. Yeah, I think that's kind of like a cliche in a way at this point, but it's a cliche for a reason, if that makes sense. I think sticky notes had a time in the limelight, and then
Yeah.
then some people just got to being too crazy with the sticky notes kind of thing. Now the big ass calendar, I feel like is a thing right now.
Everything has like gets to an end point where something else has to start. Like,
Hmm.
so yeah, I mean, everyone goes to the point where they use sticky notes or they use the journal. And I think it's just more of cycles.
Right.
Like this year, I love this, but in 3 years, it's going to be so normal that
Hmm.
I'm not going to notice it as much.
Right.
And so
So
I
annoying.
think, huh?
It's so annoying. Yeah.
And so I think part of life is just recreating. You have to kind of trick yourself a little bit into, and when it comes to these types of things like setting goals, that's why you set new goals, is because you kind of have to, you want to be healthy, you need to work out and stuff, but you kind of have to just trick yourself a little bit to be able to do it. And I think it's these cycles that you go through that always come into an end and something new starts, and that's how you have to trick yourself.
Right. And the end and the new are kind of like an end of an old way of doing something for this result and a new way of doing something, but it's all for the same result or
Yep.
priority, you know?
Right, right.
But you got to cycle through because if not, you're going to get stuck. And because the world changes and you change, if you keep doing the same thing, it's not going to work for you forever.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And I think that's the magic of it, right? It's like we've unlocked this secret. No, I'm just kidding. But but
Incantation. I like that's my word of the week right now. Incantation.
yeah, but that's what the magic is. You know, there's so much like you're always doing one thing, but there's all these other things that are happening. And we talk about this a lot where when you get wise, like you see all these other things happening and like it becomes annoying and it's like oh that's when you hear things like ignorance is bliss and you're like, you know what? There's a lot of truth to little cliche sayings like that. And it's just interesting to think about.
I feel like that should be a good place to stop right there.
All right, cool. It's a good episode.
Yes. Go be magical.
Be magical, people. Get your fitness on.
Thank you for listening.
See you, Mike. Peace.